We would like to thank everyone for coming today. On behalf of the community, the Cemetery Commission, our Veterans Agent, Shawnee Carroll, and we'd like to warmly welcome everyone to today's Veterans Day ceremony. We gather here to honor the men and women who have fought to serve in the United States Armed Forces, whose courage, sacrifice, and commitment to duty continues to inspire and protect us all. Veterans Day is a moment for us to reflect on the countless sacrifices made by these brave individuals and to recognize the freedoms and security we enjoy because of their dedication. Today we honor not only their service to our great nation, but also their resilience during times of strife and their enduring spirit, which we should be inspiring to all of us. The Cemetery Commission has been diligently working on this Veterans Memorial Park. In the upcoming construction of our Walk of Remembrance, which will be located right over here, recently awarded, the first monuments will be placed along this walkway for our Harwich Revolutionary War and Civil War veterans. These two memorials will contain about 450 Revolutionary War veterans, and 300 Civil War veterans. These two memorials will also be a powerful and reflective event to honor those who served during this defining period in American history. This event will educate our public, commemorate these local heroes, and foster a sense of community rooted in our shared heritage. As soon as we have the dedication ready and a date firmed up, we will inform the public. Future memorials will be a World War I memorial, World War II, Gold Star families, as well as Korean and Vietnam Wars. Thank you to all of our veterans that are here with us today. We extend our deepest gratitude to you and your families, and we renew our commitment to honor your sacrifice, not only for today, but for every day. Let us take a moment to recognize and celebrate the courage of these veterans who are currently serving and the families that support them. We'd also like to thank those in our community who came out today to support the veterans. Our select board, we have Jeff Handler, Don Howell, Pete Petoskey, we have Elizabeth Harder, our Assembly of Delegates, Chief Kevin Considine, Chief David LeBlanc, Elaine Mason with the Cape and Islands Boy Scouts Council. It is now my honor to introduce the Master of Ceremonies, Lieutenant Colonel Chip Carroll, U.S. Air Force.
Thank you, Robin, for the kind words. It's my distinct honor to be here with you today. I'm very, very happy with the weather. My wife and I looked on Saturday at what the weather was supposed to be like for Monday, and they were calling a 100% chance of rain at right about this time, so we're very, very happy that that's happened. As she said, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Chip Carroll, along with my wife, Shawnee Master Sergeant Carroll. We're both retired Air Force vets, and it's my pleasure to be here with you today. The country honors a few holidays for the vets and people in it. We have Armed Forces Day, which we honor those people who are currently serving. We have Memorial Day for those individuals who gave their all. Some all give some. On Memorial Day, we honor those that gave all. Today, we honor Veterans Day, and it's a day to honor all of those who have admirably served in the United States. There's probably over 100 million, including 13 million in World War II alone, of veterans that have served, to include 43 of our presidents. So today we take time to honor those individuals who, to their perseverance, their dedication, and their dedication to service above self and dedicating to something that's larger than themselves, the country that we all live in. At this time, I'd like to introduce our Joe McAleer. He's an ordained minister, a former private first class, and a World War II vet, for our invocation.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, and welcome everybody to the Veterans Celebration today. I'd like for you all to just kind of relax a little bit and shut your eyes if you want, or keep them open, whichever is the most comfortable for you. Okay, well, our invocation changed. That's all right, I'm fine. I was going to do it a little differently, but I read this morning from the Daily Word, and it was so beautiful, I figured I'd do it from here. So if you would, please just kind of close your eyes or do whatever you want. And here we go. Today, I honor with thoughts of respect and gratitude those who answered the call to service, to share the best of oneself, to put others' needs above one's own, to be willing to sacrifice even one's very life is honorable. I bless these special ones with prayers of appreciation. I pray they know security and protection as they serve, and peace of mind once their service is complete. I also honor those who served by how I live my life. I live with a fresh awareness of and a renewed gratitude for my freedoms and privileges. I understand I would not be able to live as I do without the service and the sacrifice of those who came before me. In reverence and with respect, I honor those who serve. Amen.
Thank you very, very much, Joe. Next, it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Donald Howell from the Select Board, who has the proclamation of Veterans Day.
Morning, everyone. Before I begin, I just want to acknowledge some of my colleagues from the Select Board who are present, Pete Piekarski and Jeff Handler. Hi there, guys. We also have our Police Chief, Kevin Considine, and our Fire Chief, David LeBlanc, with a number of members of our own forces here. So I bring you greetings from the Select Board. On the 11th day, at the 11th hour of November 1918, an armistice went into effect, terminating hostilities in World War I, then known ironically as the War to End All Wars. That first day was known as Armistice Day. It was a day that was set aside to commemorate the end of the Great War and to remember and honor all those veterans who served our country during World War I. Over the years, this tradition broadened to honor all our veterans for their service to our country. Recognizing their efforts throughout our history and assuring Americans are free, we gather here today to commemorate Veterans Day, a day to honor all veterans who have served in defense of our country. So we gather here to pay tribute to all veterans, both from Harwich and also all throughout the nation. Our servicemen and women from all our military organizations have served us honorably for more than 2 centuries. We reaffirm our gratitude for their service, a service which for some resulted in the ultimate sacrifice in order to faithfully defend our freedom. Now, therefore, the Harwich Select Board do hereby urge all residents of our community to join us in commemorating Veterans Day. We pray for the military men and women who remain in harm's way, deployed throughout the globe. We once again affirm our full support and our recognition of the sacrifices made by those who have served in defense of our country in all times of war and peace. Their commitment towards furthering the cause of freedom, holding high American ideals, and in the preservation of liberty for all who live in our great nation shall not soon be forgotten. May their efforts allow us all to live secure in peace. Signed, the Harwich Select Board. Julie Kavanaugh, Chair. Jeffrey Handler, Vice Chair. Peter Piekarski, Clerk. Don Howell, and Michael McCaskill.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Howell. The difficulty in going on one of these ceremonies is when you're the second or third guy to speak, and all my talking points just kind of went out the window. We had, as he said, Armistice Day originally was to commemorate on the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month, when the guns finally went silent in World War I. And at the time, we naively thought that it was the war to end all wars, and nothing that horrific could happen again. Congress initially voted in 1926 to make it a holiday. And in 1938, the federal holiday was inaugurated as Armistice Day. Due to some legislative action from some people in Kansas, they argued that it should be really Veterans Day, and it should honor all of the veterans from all of our wars. At this point, we'd been, World War II was 9 years in the rearview mirror. So in 1954, they did announce it as Veterans Day. In 1968, they made it the third Thursday in November so we could have a 3-day weekend. And it was not until President Ford in 1975 sent it back to November 11th, the day that we honor everybody today. We honor our military veterans in that they have persevered for us and continued for us all the freedoms that we enjoy today. All the things that you take for granted, our ability to assemble, ability of me stand in front of you with a microphone, are all ensured by our military vets, and they made sure that we could do that. We honor them today and all those who have served. It is becoming a shrinking population of the United States of those that have served. I won't stand by my exact numbers, but I'm going to be close when I tell you that in World War II, probably 50% of every family household had a service member who was involved, a brother, sister, uncle, father, son, serving overseas. In Korea, that number had shrunk down to about a half of that, to about 1/4%. In Vietnam, we're down to about 15%. And in today's military, where roughly 1% of our population actually serves in the military to ensure that you maintain the freedoms that you have. In the words of a distinguished British diplomat in World War II, when he spoke about the Battle of Britain, he said, "Never before have so many owed so much to so few," referring to the fighters in the Battle of Britain. And nothing could be more true today than we look out, and it's actually 1% of our population that's really actively serving in the military. So it's those that we give homage to today. Those individuals all took the oath that I did, that is to protect and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And it rings true today, whether 50% of the households are involved or 1%. And those are the individuals we honor today. I'd like to, at this point, introduce our flag bearers for the raising of the flags. For the U.S. flag, I have a retired Navy Commander Master Chief Sean Libby, retired Master Sergeant from the Air Force Shawnee Carroll, and Eagle Scout Thomas Chase, Boy Scout Troop number 76. On the POW flag, we have Cadet Airman Camilla Hill from the Civil Air Patrol and PJ Underland from Boy Scout Troop 76. Flag of the Army, Specialist 3rd Class Hugh Drummond and Sergeant Eugene Murphy, E5 Army. Marine Corps is represented by William Wilson from the Marine Corps League and Dylan Cox, Boy Scout Troop 76. For the Navy, we have Morgan Hill as Master of Arms, MA1 U.S. Navy. Flag of the Air Force, retired Master Sergeant Robert Lebec and Sergeant Howard Gates, a Vietnam veteran. Flag of the Space Force, A1 First Class Ariel T. Johnson, Cape Cod Air Force Station, and Michael Theoclerdes, I hope I got that right, Boy Scout Troop 76. Representing the Coast Guard, we have E3 Seaman Will Remillard, United States Coast Guard, and Senior Chief Boatswain's Mate Jason Holm, United States Coast Guard, retired. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are able, please stand and remove your caps for the raising of the flags of the United States of America in the 6 branches of the armed forces. Now, if you will, while remain America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now please welcome the Monomoy Regional High School Select Choir Singers to lead us in the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Beautiful. The United States military. you all. Now please join the Monomoy Regional High School Select Choir Singers in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
You people sing very beautifully. Our keynote speaker, Harwich resident Petty Officer Robert Leo Parr. He's a 20-year, 6-month veteran of the Navy. He did 2 tours on the Midway as a forward deployed carrier, which he's most proud of his time. He also, with a little bit of prodding, will tell you he also did a tour on the Eisenhower, but he kind of downplays that because he was down below decks teaching everybody how to do it properly up above deck. And for those of us that have been an instructor, you know it's always more fun to do than to teach. He's a aviation technician, and as I mentioned, he's a Harvard resident. He's a Desert Storm veteran. Please give me a warm welcome for Chief Petty Officer Robert Leo Parr, Jr., United States Navy.
Thank you, Colonel, and thank you all for being here today. Can you hear me now? Okay. It's a pleasure to be here, asked to be speaking here today. I have a favorite veteran. Some of you may too. I have a favorite veteran, and I'll be mentioning him, so I would like to share a little bit about him. Sergeant Donald Francis Ryder was the only native-born Cape Cod Korean War POW to return home. He had been a POW for over 2 years. Upon his return in 1953, the town of Harwich held a parade and made some presentations for him. That same year, the first Veterans Day was celebrated in Emporia, Kansas. Donald was my stepfather. You can find Bill Galvin's front page story on Donald in the July 24th, 2003 issue of the Cape Cod Chronicle. I hope that someday this Veterans Memorial area will highlight the singularity of his sacrifices so that he will not be forgotten. Donald and his siblings, father and generations before, have all proudly served this country. Now, Harwich has always been chock full of veterans. From the over 400 that served in the Revolutionary War to all the veterans who have served since, whether it be in times of war or peace. Each of them has proudly carried the banner of patriotic pride. To the approximately 94% of Americans that are not veterans, Veterans Day is an opportunity to recognize and thank the 6% of Americans who are veterans. Now that's talking current time. But what is Veterans Day to that 6%? Of course, it's a day that warms our hearts to know that our sacrifices have been and continue to be appreciated, that the swelling pride within our chests that often rises to the level of tears in our eyes is well supported by a country that deeply cares about those sacrifices. Additionally, it is the day when a veteran may reflect on how he or she became a veteran and what it has personally meant to him or herself. Come back with me in time over a half a century ago, the 1970s. I had a poor academic past, in high school, I also had several years under the watchful guidance of a stepfather who earned the right to be called a true American 100 times over. My stepfather, Donald Ryder, an Army veteran, MPOW, and maritime man, had taught me about the sea and instilled in me a bit of patriotism. The recruiters got a hold of me, and I signed up for delayed enlistment with a guaranteed A school as an aviation electrician. My parents had to sign as I was still under 18. After Navy technical training, my orders from there would take me to a brand new squadron that wasn't going anywhere, but I wanted to see the world. I switched duty with a guy that had orders to Japan, a helicopter squadron on board the USS Midway, due to go on a 6-month cruise in the Indian Ocean. I got there a day after they left. I was kept on the beach detachment. I began to rethink my enlistment. What had I got myself into? The next year and a half would find me in the kind of trouble a squadron commander has the unfortunate responsibility to deal with. I went to CO's mast several times and was busted from E3 to E2. As a matter of fact, once after a sea bag inspection, Lieutenant Romano, I won't forget his name, he called me to the back of the hangar and he says, "Pa, the Salvation Army wouldn't even take your stuff." Luckily, a squadron of concerned leadership took me under their wings and soon gave me a pair of my own. I was reinstated and on my way to success in a career in the Navy that I could be proud to be part of. A line of duty injury almost ended my career, but I persevered. My career would take me around the world. I would maintain aircraft on a dangerous flight deck, coming close to death several times. I would visit ports and help orphanages, tour historic sites, learn to fly, and build a family as I progressed through the ranks. I would be selected for a college program that I did exceedingly well in, and in my final tour had me serving on the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, where we brought the Army to Haiti and were the first aircraft carrier to have women permanently assigned on board. Interestingly, Mighty Ike was the namesake of the president who would make Veterans Day a national celebration in 1954. I transferred to the Fleet Reserve in March of '97 and fully retired 10 years later, because that's how they do it. Born in the city of Cambridge, living in the projects, raised from the age of 8 in Howard, with not much of a future in sight, this poor boy made his mark in this world and made a stepdad proud. You can't give these experiences to anyone. You must live them, and then no one can ever take them away from you. It has been an honor and a privilege to stand with those who stand for all. When the community comes together, as today, to thankfully reflect on the contributions of veterans, those old memories come to the fore and force again a well of tears. That is what Veterans Day means to me. Mine is only one story. Every veteran has their own. Each is part of the magnificent maze of history. The thing about a veteran, or anyone for that matter, so we may be born all shiny and new, but time tends to tarnish. We make mistakes or dumb decisions at times. It takes perseverance and participation by ourselves and our compatriots to keep polished that which is good. Disparagement does not do that. It is my hope that we may always hold in the highest esteem the service of the 6 percenters. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. It's very inspiring. Hugo? My concluding remarks, I'll just bring up again briefly, I talked about it earlier, is that every veteran in every service took the oath of enlistment, which includes raising your right hand to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. What we lose sight of quite often in the United States, we're so accustomed to the freedoms and privileges that we have. I think it's sometimes easy to overlook what it is we have when compared with other countries. And I stand before you in front of an open mic.
May all of you go home in the hands of the Divine Father, knowing that He is going to take care of us, and He will forevermore. Amen.